Hello everyone, welcome back to the Journeyman save here with Adelaide United. The story is up and running, and after a fantastic season 1, we've got our eyes set on season 2. In today's episode, I'm not going to give you the FFA Cup first round games. I have been drawn a non-league side called Logan Metro that we should be pumping. Instead, I'll come back with either an important FFA Cup game, the Asian Champions League group stage draw, if that's anywhere close, which I don't think it is, or just a whole recap on pre-season. In terms of what we are doing in the first part of this episode, though, it is the 25th of July, and that's the main time that we get people coming in to the squad and our new signings come in. More importantly, we haven't had any money in the save, but we got $1.87 million in TV revenue for the upcoming A-League season, and the board has decided to give me $1 million of that to spend. I've been working on a shoestring budget. I'm still way over the wage budget, but I don't think there's much this team really needs, apart from the fact that maybe we could go a little bit more ham if we really want to try and win everything this season, which should be the goal considering that we are doing all this. As you can see, because I did win the A-League as well and my Continental B license has kicked in, I have got my reputation up to 2.5 stars. Always nice to see that growing as well. It's getting to the stage now where I think I could apply for most jobs that aren't in the big top flights, the big top flight jobs, and probably be in with a shot. Doesn't mean you get the job, but it's always important to keep an eye on that. While we're here, let's try and ask to see if we can start on a coaching course as well, and I'll let you guys know about that. More importantly, though, we have got signings that are coming in, and here you are, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We've got Danny Vukovic coming in, and what a keeper he is. The decorated Australian international. He's only played 4 times for Australia because of Matt Ryan and so on, but this guy has a great bit of A-League pedigree. Central Coast Mariners was a great keeper for them back in the day. Wellington Phoenix, Perth Glory. He then had a really good year at Melbourne Victory, which does annoy me as well because obviously he's he plays for Melbourne Victory and then coming to play for us. But more importantly, Genk was a Genk superstar, went to NEC in game, and then we picked him up for 115k. Look, that was pretty much my whole budget, and now I've got $1 million to spend, so it makes me feel a lot better about signing Danny Vukovic. More importantly, though, you look at him, he's a star player for the A-League, he's fantastic, he's a great shot stopper, and I think at 6'2", 37 years of age, be part of the elder group of the players and will be part of the leadership group. I think he's going to be fantastic and fill a bit of a leadership void that maybe we had Goodwin leave, and it looks like he has, which is really, really good as well. Our other signing, though, is a designated player. Danny Vukovic is one as well, and that is the American international Brandon Seviana. Now, Brandon's coming in with the one goal to play central midfielder on attack. We know Luis Dorigo had a really good end to the season, scored a couple goals in an A-League Grand Final. I'm more than happy to keep him on the bench and use him as rotation option, considering that makes our squad look a whole lot better. Brandon's coming in 3.1k as an important player, as a designated player, so he's not going to count towards the salary, but if you look at him there, he looks absolutely fantastic for the A-League level. I think he'd be fantastic, and obviously form a bit of a partnership with Haruna there as well. In terms of what the team will look like now, if you then go and get Joe Gauci off there for Danny Vukovic and Danny Vukovic into there, the team looks pretty okay. Dorigo comes out and goes to the bench, and you're probably getting Mitch Nichols, who is another signing that we'll talk about as well for you, to the bench, and then you're looking at wherever Brandon Seviana is, and that is not a bad little bit of a midfield. If you look at that midfield three with the star ratings, and you look at Ansel, Lopez, and Jacobson, you've got a very good core, and our left back is going to be talked about in a second as well. Next signing as well, which I have mentioned, is Mitch Nichols. Now, someone that A-League player, A-League fans will know, and someone that Brisbane Roar fans may know. Mitch Nichols just been there and done it all in and around the A-League. He has gone and played in Asia once or twice as well, just as a backup player. On the minimum contract that you can give is $6.25. I just think it's very good to get an Australian international in. You're losing Craig Goodwin, a good piece of the leadership group, and I think Mitch Nichols is someone that's a little bit more aggressive in what he does as well. I just think as the Mazzala on attack off the bench, you've seen that Bernardo had good games last year, but we also know that Bernardo is also a bit raw. I think Mitch Nichols does give us the opportunity to go out there and really be aggressive. And, when we look to rotate or fully rotate in between Asian Champions League games, etc., I think Mitch Nichols is a very good guy and a very good part of that leadership group that could definitely help us in our bid for success this season. In terms of other sightings as well, you obviously know that Timothy's on his way out and it's about to happen, but Osama Malik joins on the 1st of the 8th. He will officially come in. Look, he is going to play wing back on attack. It wasn't where I was planning on playing him, but the form of Nick Ansell makes me play Osama Malik there. If there is a way or a left back comes available that's Australian, I would go after him. It's unfortunate in the A-League you cannot sign players for money, because I would have just, started this 1 mil transfer budget buying the best A-League players I could. But I guess it stops the bigger clubs from poaching all the other talent around the pool. I don't particularly like it. I think if clubs have money to spend, you should be allowed to spend them. And if the A-League wants to get better, let the club spend money and buy people off each other. Anyhow, Osama Malik, though, is a 4-star left back. He's been there, done it all. He's been an Adelaide boy. His old man has a coffee shop in Prospect. I think I've mentioned that a few times now. But more importantly, Osama Malik is just going to be a guy that can get up and down, be very good, be a decent replacement to Craig Goodwin out there. And you just know you're going to get what you're going to get with him. And if there's an injury at centre-back, he's going to be able to step in. If there's an injury at Isaias, he'll be able to step in. And then Ryan Kiddo can go in and fill in at left-back. And we're in a very, very good spot. In terms of what else we need, theoretically speaking, I probably would love to bench Ryan Kiddo as well. I'm going to let Nestry play yet again this season. I just think his development's going to be better off for it. And I think Ryan Kiddo, for me, is someone that if he was the backup left back, someone that can get up and down and be a bit more of an attacking fullback off the bench, I think, as well as his versatility, would be a very good option for us as well. In terms of that, that's going to be the end of this first part of the episode. Those are your new signings for now. I will be back with any new signings or anything else that may or may not happen. There is one player that I am chasing to play that right-hand side. He's an Australian international. He is a player playing in the A-League. Unfortunately, he wants 5K a week, and the board will only let me offer him 3.1K as a designated player. So I'm hoping when his contract ends in the next few days, we've got something to report there, then he might take a little wage cut to come to Adelaide United. Welcome back, YouTube. 6th of October, and we have to go through a couple of things. First things first, it's youth intake day. First one in the whole entire save here at Adelaide, of course, as well. You get him in October. The A-League's a little bit different, so you have to wait a full season before it comes in. We do have a couple of guys that you may see play some minutes for us this season. More importantly, though, I said I was going to give you an FFA Cup game because I didn't think we were going to really get a FFA Cup game that we're going to lose to a bit later on. Micarth had a really poor year last year. We are quite a good footballing side. Micarth came, only had 38% of the ball, but they were dominant. Sometimes you don't need possession of the ball to do what you need to do. They've made a couple of signings, Mustafa Amini with a goal and an assist. We did concede from a set piece and then on the break from our own corner. But you know what? I can't complain about losing this game. Maybe a little bit of naivety with me saying I don't need to film this game because I'm going to win this one against Micarth. I'll wait till I get a bigger team in the FA Cup to give you this game in the episode. So this episode maybe might have the first game of the season towards the end of it as well, just because there's nothing else for me to really give you. Did notice that we obviously did miss Saravana. Saravana for the middle. Kakeris played for the middle. Wasn't great. Robbie Cruz probably not at the level. But yeah, and it probably didn't help the fact that I just tried to list Zach Clough to free up another free agent spot. And we'll go as to why in a second. If you have a look at the transfers first, before we get into any of these guys that I'm bringing in and the transfer history, if I go by player trials, there's names you're going to know. Asaidi. Nearly went for him, decided against it because I was only allowed, by the way, guys, I was allowed 5 foreign spots this season instead of 4. Don't ask me why, I do not know. Madri, people may know who Madri is as well. Sado Berarino, yes, he was very good. Robbie Cruz obviously joined us. Mara Giota's actually done his ACL, so I've not decided to bring him in. Didn't realise that till he loaned. Wow, Hang Kwan Song, the North Korean, was a 24-year-old god and he decided to retire after I released him. If I knew that was the case, I definitely would have picked him up. Oliver Boomlin, not too bad as well. Baraki Sacco, people know from back in the day at West Brom. Very well-rounded again. Calder Silva is a fullback option. The big one, though, the next two. Gary Cahill actually had a contract offer accepted. The reason why we tried to sell Zach Clough was to free up a foreign spot for Gary Cahill to come play centre-back. Never came to fruition, so we decided to go with one other signing that I'll show you in just a second as our last foreign spot, and Gary Cahill made his way out. Hatem Ben Arfa correctly had a contract accepted. He then decided to go to Almere City as an impact sub-center playing for me as an important player, which is annoying. He would have been a great inside forward there on the right. And then Wesley, we had an offer accepted for there, available on a free to super duper quick. Would have been pretty nippy on the right-hand side, but instead isn't the option that we have done. And then lastly, the international and Fred, the 39-year-old. Couldn't be a bad false 9. Yet again, we just don't have the foreign spots. But if we go by all transfers and we go from what we haven't seen, there's 2 transfers to talk about. First one isn't as important, but Anthony Kakeris, great footballer. Been in and around the A-League, 30-year-old Australian, on a free, was released from Sydney. Yep, he was. And played 25 games at a 6.94 for Sydney FC last year. Plays pretty well through there. I want to play him as an inside forward. It's just so paramount from what I've seen. Inside forwards are a must with the false 9, where you just don't get enough creativity. So I'm actually, it may sound crazy, I know Zach Clough had a decent year. This guy's a false 9 in the A-League. I think would be really good. He's looked there pretty good in pre-season games, but we haven't played anyone of note in pre-season. But I think Anthony Kakeris playing as a false 9 this year could be quite the option up top and solves a little bit of depth. The second one, though, we need a left-back to replace Craig Goodwin. Marcelo Hermes, just have a look at him for a left-back in the A-League. He is straight away the best left-back in the A-League. Physically pretty good, mentally pretty good, technically very good for the A-League, has to be said. Picked him up for the measly 10.5k, all up front, the Brazilian, and that's our last foreign spot that we could have brought in, so that's perfectly fine there as well. Obviously, you have Mikel Haruna, who we signed last season, Saravana, who's come in this season, countable as the foreign spots, and you already had Zach Clough, and you already had Javi Lopez, who's had the massive hip injury, and he's still out and declining. He's finally coming back, but he has lost a little bit of speed. Hopefully, will still be okay at 36 years of age. That's not all that's happened, though. We do have youth intake, and we have made some signings of these boys have come in, of course, as well. Important to note, we do have the regen names that you can change in our Discord. I do leave it within reason. You're not allowed to just call someone like something stupid or something that's quite generic. If you're playing in Germany and someone's like Gerhard Muller, just to take an example, that's a German name. You can't be calling him Tim Wood, which is like an Australian name. I wanted to stay within the ethnicity and within the reasonable of it being a name. Anyway, Niaz Mohammed is your best, apparently, intake player. I disagree. Don't get me wrong, I think the Sri Lankan, and he will be a Sri Lankan international, does look decent. He's well-rounded for the A-League. Not really a player that's going to impact us here in the Journeyman. Saying that, though, Dimmy Cancross, and you might be thinking, okay, that might be a little bit far-fetched. His actual name, if we go to it, was Brendan Cancross, so with just the extra I in there. Got rid of the I, and Dim Sim has renamed him Dimmy Cancross, because he actually plays centre attacking mid in real life. Look, pretty well-rounded for an A-League player. Mentally pretty switched on for an A-League player at 16. Decent passing ability and technique, and physicals that are only going to develop and get better. I do see a world where this guy does become and have a very good A-League career. Just obviously this being a journeyman, we're probably not going to spend too much time into putting his development through the ringer. Ben Moss, worth a mention, he's 6'2" keeper, is actually maybe might get a game here or there. But the big one's Joel Decker, and JS has come in and renamed him from being Chris Decker. So the name's the same. Last name, just the first name there. And Decker looks unbelievable. And how he's only 4-star, I do not know. He's already 1.5 star, and he's got the sort of pace that I'm like late doors, inside forward, off the left-hand side. Yeah, buddy, you will do. As you can see there, I wish I didn't sign Robbie Cruz if I knew this guy was coming out as well. But look at him. He's already got 18 determination, tick. 16 pace and acceleration, tick. 13 agility and 16 natural fitness, big tick, tick. More importantly, though, mentally well-rounded, a lot of 9s, a lot of 10s. I think this guy doesn't just have a career in the A-League. This guy gets a career abroad and in Europe, maybe one we keep an eye on. He's also got pretty good dribbling, finishing, and first touch is extremely good for a 16-year-old here in Australia, with decent technique as well. They're all going to get to 12s and 13s and 11s because we're at a differently lower level. If he was playing in one of the Europe big clubs with those stats, he would have exceeding ability. Because he's in the A-League and you're playing in Australia, the level's not as good. The growth will be a bit slower. But I expect this guy to not only have a good A-League career, to play abroad and have a career playing for Australia. I know that's a big call when he doesn't have that potential, but I'm telling you right now, Joel Decker there, I'm going to be giving him minutes at some point this year. There'll be times we need to rotate. There'll be times where we might be playing a side that maybe not having the best of year, and I'll be giving Decker minutes. That's a guarantee of what's going to happen this year for at least Joel Decker. More importantly, he's Adelaide born, always nice as well. But that's the team and how it looks. In terms of what we're going to do next in the next part of this episode, I will give you guys... No, I won't. I'm not going to give you guys a next game their first A-League game, which is Brisbane Roar, who we did beat in the semi-finals. Instead, I'm going to call the end of the episode there and just call this episode the Season 2 signings, right? And then next episode, you'll see the start of the A-League season, and hopefully we go on a bit of a run early doors. Our first 3 games all at home. I expect 9 points and hopefully a charge towards the title. In terms of people wondering about what the Asian Cup is doing, I believe that competition is still running there as well. Should be able to get it in from here. No. Asian Champions League. It's probably what I should have wrote in there. There we go. It's all right. Just let me go. Asian Champions League. Okay, burn. Yep, there we go. As you can see, they're into the semi-final stage now, so which means the final isn't going to be played till, don't know when that final is going to be played, but that final won't be played for ages away. So that's the thing. Be prepared that we will do another pre-season here with Adelaide United next year if we go on a massively deep run. When I mean a massively deep run, I mean semi-final, final. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Anyhow, that's kind of what I wanted to end on as well, is that the Asian Champions League is coming. We won't see that till the second half of the year, and hopefully we have a good start to the year. I think the goal for this year is definitely to try and go back-to-back in the A-League. I think we've got the team to do it, considering how dominant we were last year. Yes, the FA Cup's a bit disappointing. Straight at the start of pre-season, new signings, people unsettled because they want to leave, etc., etc. Come the season start, I'm hoping that this part of it, the dynamics and the club atmosphere and that is just at its full tilt, and we'll be fine and ready to go there. But I think the major part of this season is, can we go on a run in the A-League? If we get knocked out in the group stage, can we maybe find a job, especially in Asia? Not for the Champions League, maybe in that first season, but a club where we've got a bit of money, maybe can attract some better players and build on this brand of football we've already started in the Journeyman. However, from Damon and everybody else here, that will be the end of this episode, and I'll see you next time for the start of Season 2 in the Hyundai A-League.